everyone, and welcome back to Lynx's channel. We're sitting here once again with Mike, and we have a couple news releases to go through today. But first off, Mike, how are you doing?
Well, we're doing well. I mean, keeping busy, and things. We're pleased with how things are going.
Perfect. And we're fresh off the weekend, so we're going to jump into this headstrong, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. A lot to talk about.
Perfect. So let's start off with your subsidiary, DA5. You guys announced an integration agreement with Pipit. Can you tell us more about what this actually means for everybody?
Yeah, I mean, at the very, very high level, it means that we have now expanded our global presence. So DA5 is essentially in the Philippines, has the physical locations for cash in and cash out. It has the large network that plugs into a wallet that people are able to use. Once they put the cash in, they can connect to the wallet, and that gives everybody the value of being able to move money in and out of the Philippines for whatever they use. And that's where we're starting to see a lot of interesting, exciting things happen. Pipit, it has an integration network for cash in and cash out that's global. Africa, Latin America. So now by plugging into that, we have the ability to expand. DA5 now is moving out of just the Philippines and now has the ability to expand internationally into a lot of the markets that are very similar in the profile that the Philippines does, where people are sending money home, overseas workers, very cash-centric markets. And that's what's one of the things that's very exciting is that, Pipit says that they see themselves as digitizing cash. And what that means is that in these countries where cash is still 85 or 90%, we're seeing a tremendous move towards digitization, things like in mobile money wallets with the telcos and things like that. But it has to start somewhere. And the way that you digitize cash is you take cash physically to a location and it turns into a digital transaction with the wallet. So our partnership, the DA5, is taking what DA5 does very, very well. It's obviously bi-directional. So now they can expand to many, literally hundreds of thousands of locations outside into Africa, Latin America, even into Eastern Europe, and expand the network and the value proposition.
Yeah, it's real surprising how many places are still very cash centric. If you live in Canada or the US, you're used to card being pretty much the dominant thing nowadays, but there's lots of places in the world where it just hasn't quite transitioned all the way over yet.
That's true, and that's the economic opportunity that we see, and certainly that Lynx is all about helping facilitate and grow. Is that these markets, technology-wise, smartphones, their smartphone adoption is very high, mobile penetration, internet, and so they're jumping ahead. I mean, I think we're all very well aware of how successful China has been at essentially creating this digital payment market through things like Alipay and WeChat. There's some stats out there and companies that are reporting that China does half of the world's digital transactions, $7.2 trillion. And what that is that's the leapfrogging. The technology has the ability to leapfrog into the financial system. So now you have a world where didn't have access to financial services, where the cost of the financial services was, they're not going to set up a bank branch. They're not going to staff people because it's too much. But now with a cell phone, with an application, and now more importantly, the physical location to convert and digitize that cash, these markets, which kind of range literally in $1.72 billion people, depending on who you're talking to, is now accessible in the next, we believe, 5 to 10 years to completely digitize and their economy and their GDP and how money moves.
Perfect. And with that, let's jump into the next piece because it's pretty relatable there too. Tell me about this GCash update.
Yeah, so GCash is a very exciting kind of piece of integration into what we're doing, and this really kind of carries on to it. So we have two things happening with DA5, and we're, as you can tell, we're very, very happy with DA5 and essentially the value that is there, not just in their network, but in the technology and the business relationships that they have. The Philippines is well known globally as kind of the center of the remittance world, and to have this kind of a technology platform is very exciting. So what we have here is that we have, as we just talked about, so you have Pipit, where we're expanding the network and we're having this global cash in and cash out. So people can take their cash to a location, digitize it into some kind of a wallet transaction. Well, the thing that really drives all of that, as I mentioned a couple minutes ago, is mobile money, what the telcos are doing, how the telcos are essentially operating. So they also have a mobile money wallet, and that they typically use that for top-ups, things like that. But they also move it for moving money within their own network. I can send money to you via phone, and that's been the core business. By integrating into DA5, the GCash wallet now has the ability to do exactly what I was saying. They now have the ability to access much more of the economy, cash in, cash out, move money. It's not just moving money from you and I in the network. It's now taking part of the entire populace and allowing people to do that. So for a mobile operator, such as Globe Telecom, so GCash is an e-wallet subsidiary of Globe Telecom, which is one of the largest mobile operators and one of the most advanced technology mobile operators in the emerging markets. They have the ability to expand what they do. They can, and they can expand globally now because of our expanded global network. And that's where we see a lot of the partnership. What happens in fintech is really it's a symbiotic relationship. We bring something to them, they bring something to us, and then we expand it into new, larger and larger services because these markets haven't been really adopted. Like we'll see the technology moving from payments. It's going to move into loans. We're starting to see a lot of that out there. It'll move into insurance. We'll move up that curve. And to do that, everybody has to kind of plug into each other and kind of build this technology stack.
Yeah, one of the main things with the modern world is things should play nice together. That's what really leads to things. I don't know how you'd say exponential growth in these companies. You got to work with each other to get
Yes.
past a certain point. It's just the way the modern world is now. This plugs into that. This plugs into that. It's just the way things are going to be.
Yeah, the idea that we used to have of 20 years ago, where you kind of ring fence something around a standard, and you have to come into my world and play there, and I have to kind of go, and really ask each other for permission to do that. Yeah, that doesn't work. And certainly in the the venture capital community, they've kind of coined the phrase network effect, and that's really what you have. Is the more people that are using it, the more their feedback loop is, the better the service is, and then what you'll see is that you'll see people naturally kind of start determining where their core center of expertise is. Okay, and hence you hear terms like pivots and stuff like that. But that's what happens. Everybody gets together, they connect, they're driving towards a vision and solving a problem. And the big problem that we're all solving together is a large part of the global economy that essentially is digitizing the cash. COVID is a black swan event where everybody said, listen, we can't operate this way. We have to change. Everybody wants to see it done. And so this is what's driving towards it. So it's very exciting.
Perfect, Mike. Well, thank you for coming on and thanks for the updates. We'll be happy to get you guys some more soon. Do you have any questions for Mike or anyone else on the team? Stay tuned because we're going to have some more people on ASAP. Mike, thank you for coming on.
All right. Thank you. Talk to you soon.